V-Cube, the company that revolutionized the world of twisty puzzles by creating the first ever 6x6 and 7x7 back in 2008. But after years of stagnation, they've become known by cubers more for their terrible turning and old-fashioned cube design, rather than for this revolution that they set off. But what if I told you that there is at least one V-Cube product that is still worth buying in the year 2024? A product that's existed for over a decade, but that's so cool that I just bought even more of them. This is a product that I think is criminally underrated, so today I'm going to tell you why I bought them, and why I think maybe you should buy some too. Okay, here they are. Now this mysterious product is called V-Cube Create Your Cube, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Take whatever pictures you want and put them on a Rubik's Cube. Now the first time I bought one of these, which you may have seen before, was way back in 2015 when I was really into playing Minecraft. And so the obvious choice was to put Minecraft textures all over it, which not only looks awesome, but is also pretty fun to solve. So recently, I was messing with this cube thinking, what a cool service. I wonder if it's still around. I searched it up on YouTube, and sure enough, my terrible old video on it was still the first result. Not a good sign. But I went to their website and sure enough, it seemed not only fully functional, but also recently redesigned. So my brain immediately went to, what would I want to put on a Rubik's Cube in 2024? Well, my hobbies nowadays consist less of playing Minecraft and more of making Rubik's Cube videos and playing around in the mountains. That's right, I made a Rubik's Cube designed after each one of those activities, and we're about to check them out, which I am very excited about. Now I just gotta give kudos to V-Cube for this, because I ordered these on a Tuesday night here in the US. They were custom printed in Greece and shipped across the world for me to receive them on Friday afternoon. That just might be the most impressive shipping time I have ever seen on a product. And the fee was only 12.5 euros, which seems totally reasonable for 2 cubes. And while we're on the subject of price, each custom 3x3 cost me 17 euros, or about $18. There's also an option for getting it printed on a 2x2 for just 12 euros, and there's also pillowed options for both the 2x2 and the 3x3. If you ask me, that's also a great price, considering it's less than most normal 3x3s nowadays, and it has my face on it. And with that, let's talk about what I actually got printed on each of these cubes. As I mentioned, the theme for this first one was, well, my Rubik's Cube videos. So basically what I did was went onto my channel, found 6 of my videos that were either my favorite or the most popular, and then modified their thumbnails to fit on a Rubik's Cube. That last step was actually a lot more difficult than it sounds, because a YouTube thumbnail is shaped like a long skinny rectangle, whereas a Rubik's Cube is shaped like a square, and so I had to do a lot of Photoshop work to basically squish and stretch everything to make all the pictures and text fit nicely into this new aspect ratio. But once that hard part was finished, I was able to easily upload all the pictures to the website, which I'll have linked below, and then I arranged everything exactly where I wanted on the cube. It even gives you a nice realistic 3D preview to show you exactly where all the pictures are relative to each other, in case you want to do something clever, like having 2 pictures connecting to each other in a panorama. There are also some special tools if you want to have the same picture on every side, just tinted different colors, or even the same picture on every single piece of a given side. So let's quickly check out each one of the thumbnails. We can also look at the print quality along the way. This one up here is somehow my most popular video with 10 million views, basically just a bunch of cubes spontaneously falling apart. In the front here is my most recent cube collection video, which I think also happens to be my longest video, and the longest I've ever spent sitting in front of a camera talking. This is the world's lightest speed cube, one of my favorite mods that I've made, my most popular modding video, and somehow my most profitable video ever. This is solving a 4x4 1 turn per mile, currently the most viewed out of that entire series of videos, and probably also the most impressive, doing the entire 100 miles in one go. This is a recent video that absolutely exploded in views, my non-cuber friend ranking all of my craziest puzzles, which is absolutely hilarious. And finally, the longest I've ever spent editing a video, over 60 hours in 5 days, and possibly my favorite video ever, US Nationals 2023. So as you've probably been able to tell, the printing looks really great. I love how vibrant and realistic the colors look. If you look at some of the blank spots, there's a little bit of kind of fuzziness. The details aren't super crisp to the naked eye. But if you just hold it at a normal distance, it looks more than good enough in my opinion. The only real defect I've been able to find is this little tiny white chip on this side right here. If you look at my old Minecraft cube, which again is 10 years old, you can see a few more of these white chips. So I'd say be a little careful with this cube not to scratch it, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. I've probably dropped this cube from great heights many times, and it still looks pretty darn good. So what's it like to actually use this thing as a Rubik's Cube? Well, I would describe the turning quality as somewhere between a Rubik's brand and a low-end speed cube. It's fairly smooth and quite effortless to turn. The corner cutting is a lot better than you'd find on a Rubik's brand, just not much in the reverse direction. So it does feel a little bit catchy. I don't think I'd even want to be tempted to speed solve on a custom printed puzzle like this, so I feel like this strikes a pretty good balance. So let's go ahead and try out our very first solve, starting right here on the cube collection side of the puzzle. Of course, this is going to be a little bit more difficult than a normal 3x3 because we do it to make sure that all these center pieces are correctly lined up relative to their edge pieces, so those first 3 are correct. As I'm doing the cross, I like to also line up these other 4 side centers right here. So this one needs to be rotated that way. This one is already correct. And let's get this last one in here like that. So now as long as we don't do any weird algorithms, we shouldn't have to worry too much about those centers getting messed up. So now let's find some corner pieces that go into this bottom layer here. So this one goes right there. And the last one is over here that we can put in just like that. I'm totally just doing this beginner's method style because I'm super lazy, but I can see that this edge needs to go right there. So I'll do the normal algorithm and do that for the rest of the edges as well. Okay, now that we're done with F2L, I guess we can just try a normal OL and PLL. I can tell that I have a cross case right here because all these edges are oriented correctly, and the other correctly oriented ones are here, 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 and here. So I can tell that we have this OLL. Now you can tell the 4x4 pieces are facing the right side. And now if I stare at this long enough, I might be able to figure out what PLL we need to do. Oh, you know what? These two pieces are correct, and these two pieces are correct, which I think means we have a G-perm. Okay, that's looking mostly good. So after a quick little AUF, or 3, okay, that one's correct, that one's correct, that one's correct. Oh, okay, so we messed up some of the center orientations with our G-perm, but luckily I know an algorithm for this exact case, and this will bring us back to being completely solved. Perfect. So now that we've very thoroughly checked out the cubing theme cube, it's time to check out the mountain one, which honestly, I might be even more excited for. Now these are all pictures that I've taken in the mountains of Colorado. So we have a nice trail through some trees, a very pretty snow-covered mountain, a very nice reflective lake in front of a peak, just a very pretty mountain scene, a cool waterfall, and an epic picture of the Milky Way in front of a very jagged skyline. And just a little challenge, if you can find and tell me the locations of all 6 of these pictures, I would be very impressed. Obviously this one's gonna be the most difficult, followed by maybe this one and this one, but I think it's definitely doable. Now obviously the printing quality looks just as great on this cube. The colors are fantastic. I would maybe stray away from having really fine details, like in the trees or even the stars here, but again, from a distance, it looks awesome. And I hope this cube serves as a good example of why I think this is such a cool product from V-Cubes. You can really take whatever pictures you want, pictures that you've taken or edited, or just anything that you're interested in, maybe pictures of friends and family, and then put those on a Rubik's Cube. Make them exist in the real world in an object that you can hold in your hands, play around with, solve, and do different patterns on. It really is such a fun concept, and I'm making this video because I personally wanted these cubes, and I'm honestly kind of perplexed why this thing isn't more popular than it already is. Obviously, the concept of a custom printed Rubik's Cube is nothing revolutionary, but if you've ever bought one of these cheap novelty cubes before, you'll know how bland the printing quality looks, how terrible the turning is, and how bad the stickers are. Obviously, there may be some better ones out there, but usually the minimum order quantity is like 10 or 50 or 100. It's hard to get your hands on just one custom printed cube. And so having an option that you can buy just one of, with great looking borderless printing directly on the plastic, actually decent turning, very reasonable prices, and extremely fast turnaround. Maybe I'm crazy, but it just feels like an absolute steal. So again, I'll put the link to the website down in the description where you can make your own. Just to be clear, I make absolutely zero money from you doing that. I just think it's a cool product, and I hope you do too. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this fun little unboxing. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.